frequently asked questions about the legislative revolving door limitation here in the state of California. First, what's the revolving door? Well, it refers to when legislative or executive branch officials leave government service and enter the private sector. It's often referred to as the revolving door between the public and private sectors. Are elected members of the legislative branch subject to a revolving door limitation? Yes. It's found in Article 4, Section 5E of the California State Constitution. What does that provision of our state constitution provide? It says that the legislature is required to enact laws that prohibit a member of the legislature from lobbying for compensation as governed by the Political Reform Act of 1974 before the legislature for 12 months after leaving office. What's the applicable state law called? Government Code Title 9, Chapter 7, Article 4 on the disqualification of former officers and employees is known as the Milton Marks Post-Government Employment Restrictions Act of 1990. For how long is the revolving door limitation? Government Code Section 87406B1 applies for a period of 1 year after leaving office. However, note that this period is extended when a state lawmaker leaves office earlier in his or her term. Can a former legislator lobby for free during the 1 year period? Yes, because the prohibition only applies if they are being compensated. What is the prohibition? They cannot be paid to act as agent or attorney for or otherwise represent any other person by making any formal or informal appearance or by making any oral or written communication before the legislature, any committee or subcommittee, any present member of the legislature, or any officer or employee if the appearance or communication is made for the purpose of influencing legislative action. What happens if a legislator resigns his or her office before their term has expired? This is addressed by Section 87406B2. There, the period begins, commencing with the effective date of the resignation and concluding 1 year after the adjournment sine die of the session in which the resignation had occurred. What revolving door advice is provided by the FPPC, the Fair Political Practices Commission? They state that the post-employment activities of a former state legislator are restricted in that the former legislator cannot for 1 year be paid to communicate with their former colleagues in the legislature in an attempt to influence certain actions or proceedings. If the legislator resigns from office, then the 1 year ban begins with the date of the resignation and ends 1 year after the adjournment sine die of the legislative session in which his or her resignation had occurred.